Hey guys, Tarke here, and I wanted to give another update on the Exposed Terra character because I've made quite a few changes to it. The big change being I've dropped Hidden Potential just for another, well, DPS residual. The reason why I dropped Hidden Potential in the end was kind of twofold. So I wanted to try out different things. While Hidden Potential was giving me 100% increased damage with my setup, which is 200% ignite damage because double dipping is a good mechanic, I was getting kind of annoyed. The reason why I was getting kind of annoyed was getting really nice boots with 30% movement speed and life is really difficult. No one lists just magic boots, so it was a case of either need to spend a lot of alterations on a pair of two-tone boots, and I did try getting a good pair, but it was just like, this is really awkward. I probably want to use a rare pair of boots. So then you're like, okay, well, if I'm using a rare pair of boots and I eventually want to be using Essence of Envy jewelry, then that leaves me with 1, 2, 3 pieces for magics: quiver, belt, and helm. As a flask finder, you really want reduced fast charges used on your belt. It's just really nice. I would argue everyone wants reduced fast charges used on the belt, but especially on a flask-centric character. So then it's like, I need to get good life and reduced fast charges used on my belt, and then still meet up my resist somewhere. Awkward. So then it's like, okay, well, I can maybe just use 2, and then it's like, well, I kind of want to use Devoto's Devotion because I want to move quick because I'm using Winds of Change. They do have that, reduced movement speed, and I kind of want to offset that a little bit. And then I was like, I can probably just do cooler things if I dropped in potential. So I decided to get Chaos Cap instead and use a Forbidden Taste because, with Tarke we had to do something interesting. So that was the first big change we've done. I'll quickly give a gear update. So we now have a weapon swap Exposed Terra setup. We still haven't got the 6-link wall range chance. I'd need to save up some more scours and I'll do another scour chance video. In my single target setup, we have Fire Pen, Chance to Ignite, Conk Effect, Explosive Arrow, then Restoration, with Blink Arrow on the off socket, so that even when I weapon swap, I still have my Blink Arrow. On my AoE setup here, I need a 4-link. I've got Explosive Arrow, GMP, Restoration, Fire Pen. I'm using a Zeri's Promise, which is how I'm getting my Leech, and I have a lot of regen, meaning I don't need to use the Leech gem for now at least. Zeri's Promise is really good. I tried dropping it, I tried not rocking it. Even though I am chaos capped, I still like it just because it gives me that leech, it gives me damage, it's just nice. Also because I'm using the Forbidden Taste and my quiver. This is like my normal quiver, this is like my go-to quiver. In my AoE setup, because I'm not using rearguard, I need to have 2 rare quivers. So this one is just life, res, chaos res, and the other one is life, res. This has some crit chance in there, which is kind of nice. The crit chance helps proc the LE overload, but it's really nothing special. Eventually you want to Vaal your rare quivers to get either fire leech or additional arrows or so on and so forth. And that is one thing I am actually considering, the whole rearguard thing. The reason why rearguard is decent is it gives you chance to block and it gives you a little bit of damage. It doesn't have any life on it. I don't like using rearguard and Devoto's Devotion. A lot of people do use both of them in conjunction with one another because you use a Comb's Heart, but I don't like doing that. In my mind, it's kind of like you either use Devoto's or use rearguard, and I would rather use Devoto's and a rare quiver than use rearguard and a rare helm. Also, Roomies did get nerfed in the last patch. They reduced the block chance on it. Basically, the good combo was you use rearguard, you use a Roomies, and you float between like 40 to 50% block chance, which is also pretty good. If you're a Pathfinder, you kind of float more towards the 50% block chance end. And that is still really good, and that is something I'm actually considering putting in. My main issue is just my flask setup. There are more flasks I want to put into my setup, and I don't really know what I'd drop for a Roomies. One big advantage of the rearguard, obviously, is for the weapon swap setup, you don't need to worry about getting matching rares. Like, you see I've got fire and cold res, which is how I'm getting LE weakness cap. Losing the chaos res on the quiver really doesn't matter. I go from 56, because I'm slightly over, to 59%. Even at 59% chaos res, because I've got so much regen. If I use the Forbidden Taste, which if you don't know, Recover 75% of your maximum life on use. This scales up with all of my Flask effectiveness. So this is basically a full heal. 8% of max life taken is chaos damage per second. So it's a Court Flask. So while it's active, I get the phasing, which is really nice in Breach. 10% chance to dodge attacks, 10% chance to dodge spell damage. And because I've got so much regen and chaos res, even at only 59%, when I'm in my single target setup, I just don't even notice the damage. So if you look, let's see, hang on. Okay, well, you can't really tell, but right now I'm ticking down, taking chaos damage. So I still positively regen when it's active. You notice it a tiny bit if you're going ham on your blood magic setup in your single target, but when I'm in full chaos res capped, we just chunk my health a little bit. It's hard even with the ridiculous amount of cost of explosive area because it's only on a 4 link. It's not that high. Pop that. That's just the blood magic cost, but I actually regen through the chaos damage. So yeah, I like it. It's basically when you have these super high HP builds. Mine's only 6.5k at the moment because I'm only level 81. And I'm missing a lot of life. I need to pick up this alchemist node, and then I'm just picking up life quite a few levels, picking up life, picking up life, picking up life, picking up a 2-point jewel, and then it's stuff like picking up fire damage, maybe traveling here, picking up fire damage. This tree at the moment I believe is about 180%, 184% max life, so there's still a lot more life for me to get. But when you have the super high HP pools, you know, having a seething which heals you for like 1000. You get loads of like Flask effectiveness, you get loads of Pathfinder stuff, maybe it heals you for like 3000, maybe it heals you for like 4000. It's just not quite enough. This build will probably get around about 7 to 8k life once I get like PogChamp res. I'll easily get 7k life considering I'm missing like 30 to 40% life from the tree, and we get a decent amount of life every time we level up just from base, so we'll easily hit 7k. And that's using a Devoto's Devotion. Just having this is just a boom, nice big full heal, and the fact that it gives phasing. In Breach you get swarmed a lot, I quite like that. Since I generate so many charges from just being a Pathfinder, whenever I use a Flask, I have a 20% chance for it not to consume charges. It's just one of those things, if you just don't really notice it, you're going to get major FPS lag now. So that's like the big like changes I've done to the build. Now there are little sort of smaller changes. Frenzy charges. Frenzy charges are problematic. So basically my issue with frenzy charges is I don't like using Blood Rage in this build, not because of the Forbidden Taste Flask. If I wasn't using the Forbidden Taste Flask, I still wouldn't like running Blood Rage. Blood Rage gives me this massive degen. Here comes the FPS lag. It gives me this massive degen on my health. You're doing blood magic stuff. If you do less regen maps, it's really noticeable. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. It's just kind of annoying, it's awkward, and we don't get that much benefit out of it. Most Explosive builds don't use Blood Rage for this reason, because you're blood magic everything. What they tend to do is run either boots, which give frenzy charge on kill, or they go for frenzy curse on hit setup. Now we're currently dual curse, and we're doing curse on hit, rain of arrows, temp chain, stun ability. I'm trying to get 3 blue on this, and I'll do flammability, elite weakness, but temp chains are still very nice. It's good defense, and it increases its duration of Magnite, so it's nice defense from that sense. So good offense, good defense. Another thing is we have quite a big AoE on it, and with Breach, just having Frenzy, Curse on hit without a chain or pierce setup feels horrible, because there's so many mobs that you just like, oh, I frenzied and I hit like 2 mobs with flammability, big whip. I know it's mostly something you only use for rares and single targets, but there are just so many mobs just clumped around enemies. It's often difficult to curse the enemy you want if you're not using Rain of Arrows. So even if I wasn't dual curse, I would still use Rain of Arrows to curse on it. I'd probably, you know, make this culling or faster attacks or something. But maybe increase the AoE. I feel like Rain of Arrows is should be the go-to curse setup for builds. And it's something that I'll probably do with my other bow characters, at least for this league where Breach is so active. There's so much just clump mentality. Just being able to do boom is really nice. Now, obviously, this character scales AoE, so it gets a much bigger advantage. Builds which don't scale AoE, it's not as good for cursing, but whatever. So, my main way of generating frenzy charges, or plan to generate frenzy charges this build, was the Blood Rage, because I didn't want to do the whole frenzy curse on hit setup because it was breach. Now, I don't get this frenzy charge here. I did get the frenzy charge from Craitland. It's only 20 regrets to change it to a skill point, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to change that to a skill point and kind of just ignore frenzy charges for now. I might change my mind later. I might possibly run a Stone Golem and Blood Rage. Maybe that'll feel a bit better. I've been using a Flame Golem for now. I need to play around with that, but right now, frenzy charges, not too happy with. Another thing I'm not too happy with is Vaal Haste in this build. Vaal Lightning Trap, amazing. Vaal Lightning Trap, it shocks enemies, shock gives me damage, it makes my ignites better. It's really good to just pre-drop a Vaal Lightning Trap and a decoy totem before a strongbox at bosses, breaches, really, really like it. Vaal Haste in this build just feels kind of awkward. I already move very quickly because I'm a Pathfinder, so I go up to 161% increased movement speed. If I wasn't running the Devotos and I wasn't using a Quicksilver, like if I wasn't using one period or wasn't using increased effect adrenaline, then I'd probably feel a bit better about Vaal Haste, but right now I just feel like it's kind of a hindrance in the fact that it's either just something I'm just pressing, so I'm purely using it for the movement speed. I don't get that much use out of the attack speed because I already have so much attack speed. It helps, but it's not really needed. So it's mostly I'm just pressing it to just move around a bit quicker. And often I find the times that I press it are quite dangerous. Because refreshing it in the middle of a breach is kind of rippy. I actually killed my Slayer character this league by refreshing Valor's in breach. Just like that half second you take to cast it, you kind of just get like insta-gibbed. And that was, again, it was like a 6k HP armor evasion character. It was quite a tanky character, and I just got like tapped by a cold breach, and I was like, oh, RIP character. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit iffy about it. For now, I might just put GMP in to get better coverage on the Vaal Lightning Trap. My usual links for this is Decoy Totem, Increased Duration, Vaal Lightning Trap, GMP. I've been swapping between GMP and Vaal Haste for the last few levels, just because I can't quite decide which one I prefer. GMP just gives much better coverage on the Vaal Lightning Trap. It just makes it feel a lot smoother, just makes it a lot better. You don't need to support it so heavily. The Increased Duration does also help the Decoy Totem. Another thing is my cast when damage taken setup. I did have a very high level cast when damage taken because I was doing high level cast when damage taken, Golem and Blood Rage because I was being lazy. I didn't want to be constantly pressing Golem and Blood Rage because I have very packed bars, or at least normally I do. So when you add in the Vaal Haste, the Vaal Lightning Trap, you know, Explosive Arrow Curse setup, Decoy Totem setup, your weapon swapping on rares, you know, there's already a lot of buttons that I'm actively pressing. I was trying to minimize the clutter a bit. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do actually is drop this whole high level cast and damage taken setup and go for a low level cast and damage taken, put Vortex in, because again, breach, you get swarmed a lot, and if I don't add in rearguard and roomies to get a little bit of extra mitigation, I need something to stop me from just getting swarmed. Well, I do have a lot of HP. You know, HP's good, but it only helps so much. You want to layer your defense, which is why I'm using the temp chains for my dual cast setup. So I feel like having a low level cast and damage taken, a Mortal Coil Vortex, increased duration, it just gives me a nice little extra layer of defense. Because I have so much AoE, you know, we get a pretty meaningful sized vortex. So that popping in the middle of a breach whenever I get tapped, because I'll use a low level cast and damage taken, yeah, that's pretty meaningful. And then you put increased duration on it, you know, it lasts for quite a decent amount of time. Anyone who enters this gets chilled. Like, that's pretty substantial. People used to use Arctic Breath GMP before. The thing which I don't like about the whole Arctic Breath GMP is I find it very laggy on the frames, and also it uses 2 links, so you don't get to also get the increased duration on the Immortal Coil. You need Immortal Coil just because porcupines exist. I tried dropping the Immortal Coil setup completely. This was before I had my weapon swap setup working. I was running my 4-link setup in my gloves, and I just wasn't weapon swapping at all, and having my single target setup in my bow. And I dropped Immortal Coil. It's like, oh, I've got enough life, I'm probably okay. And I ran a few maps with porcupines, and it's like, okay, let's get my Immortal Coil setup back. Let's buy another Quill Rain. And I was just like, buy cheap Quill Rain, get a 4-link setup in it. Okay, cool. Porcupines are scary, man. And it was just like a tier 6 map, and it was just like, I think it was Ramparts, had a lot of porcupines in it, and I'm like, I'm taking a little bit too much damage from those. Let's get a mortal coil back. So, yeah. Main changes, playing around with dropping Val Haste, Flame Golem, Stone Golem, I'm going to mess around with it, but almost definitely going to use this setup here. And I might do something with culling, I don't know. Whatever does happen, we're gonna have a golem. I do quite like having golems. They are very annoying in chain maps, but I think I want to run one anyway. So we're definitely keeping Decoy Totem. Decoy Totem is amazing. We're definitely keeping Vaaling Trap. Vaaling Trap is amazing. And then we'll probably either do increased duration here, GMP, or culling. Culling on golem makes it feel a bit less crappy. Keeping it green means I can swap in Val Haste in and out, because I'm still not sure if I want to drop it or not. Not really too sure, but if you guys have any recommendations on either any of my links, the whole rear guard thing, any interesting fast setups, let me know. But I'm really liking Forbidden Taste. Really liking Forbidden Taste. I'm liking having capped Chaos Res. It's just nice in this particular league. Very happy with all these other setups. Oh, and one other like niche thing. I'm not going to do it, but I realized it's something you can do. I haven't done my Ublab. When I do my Ublab, I'll get Master Surgeon. Because I use it at Xeris, and at Xeris gives me 15% of my Ellie damage as extra chaos, and there's also the new unique jewels of Chayula, which give you 5% of your element, so like 5% of your fire as extra chaos. You can use it at Xeris Promise and the Red Dream, which will give you 20% of your fire damage as chaos damage, and you could do poison. Yeah, so you could be a poison ignite Toaster build. It's pretty niche. It's probably not worth doing. It does give you more single target damage, which is kind of nice. And if you're not already chaos capped like I am, getting the extra chaos as well, Flask is active, is pretty cool. You do get 10% increased damage over time. There's some sort of support for it if you change all of your jewels. So instead of having fire damage on them, they just have generic like increased damage, area damage. You can actually scale pretty juicy poisons as Excitor, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that's just a little nitbit I thought I'd throw in there. Something I was kind of thinking about. I'm not going to do that though, because it's just kind of, it's too niche and it requires buying like a 200 Chaos Orb jewel. And it's just like, I don't know if that's really something I'm going to do. But yeah. I'm Tarke. Please give feedback on build. And yeah, skin transfers are cool. I mean, dude, look at my character. I look a badass. Looks sick. But yeah. Peace. Have a good day. Bye-bye.